Okay, well, welcome to today's session. We have Diane Pascos with us, and Diane is a life and relationship coach. And she really helps men and women kind of move past the barriers, whether that's trying to unblock what's going on in their relationship or their piece of the relationship or what's going on in their life. And today she's going to talk to us how we really connect with that internal guidance system within our relationships. And I mean, inner wisdom, I think that it would be we would be remiss if we really skipped over the relationship part, because there's a lot of inner wisdom about our relationships that we have inside. And even though some of us can go flipping back and forth and not sure what's going on, I think that our inner wisdom knows. So she's going to help us try to get down to the bottom of it. So welcome, Diane. I really appreciate you being on the summit.
Thank you, Christina. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Thank you for putting together this summit, asking me to be a part of it. It's very exciting. So I am a life and relationship coach. I enjoy bringing love, peace, and happiness into people's lives and in their relationships. As much as we try to, we get frustrated, let's say, with relationships and we'll try to avoid them. Realistically, life is all about relationships, whether it be our parents, our family, co-workers, friends, the romantic, all sorts of relationships. No matter where we go, they're in our lives. And it's part of also who we are. And so that's why today is going to be more about relationships and bringing our inner wisdom within relationships.
Yeah.
And where I'm actually going to start off is, that time when you feel like something's off, something inside of you feels off and you're not sure what it is or where it's coming from. So the first thing you always want to do when something's going on and you're not sure is check in. So center yourself, check in, breathe, come into your heart center and navigate, where is this coming from? Where am I feeling this? A lot of the times you may find it's just your head chattering away, having all kinds of thoughts come in, and it's not who you are. It's pre-recordings, whether it be from TV, a past experience, whatever it may be. It'll be going on in your head like a pre-recording. And what happens is we tend to go off on these recordings as if they're real, like they're actual real thoughts and they're actually reality. And we start to analyze and all this kind of stuff. And many times these are great as indicators of kind of where our thoughts are going. Where is our focus? They're kind of little indicators of a way we may be feeling, for example. So when something like that happens, you want to change your focus. I mean, many times you want to, talk to a friend, do some coaching, things like that to kind of figure all that out, but you don't always have access to that at every moment. So what you want to do is change your focus. So your focus is not all on all of those thoughts going on. And there's so many ways you can change it. You could do something physical, like jump on a trampoline, go swimming, read a book. Do something that you love and you enjoy. I'd say watch a movie, maybe if it's a comedy, so then that way you can kind of get your laughing on kind of thing. Yeah. But I would stay away from the drama or anything, too extreme. And you can enjoy something like that.
For me, it's gardening. I like
gardening.
That will help me. So, or painting. I'll paint something and that'll kind of distract me.
That's perfect. Getting back to nature and earth is perfect and beautiful. You get all the natural energy, all the natural energy surrounding you and the plants, feeling grounded to get you out of your head. That's great. Getting your hands within the soil to ground yourself. That's perfect. And another thing actually you could do, if let's say you're indoors and there's nothing else you can really do at that moment, is just a quick little breathing technique with your hands. So 10 times you breathe deeply and you go, and then it'll just calm you. And it'll just get you a lot of times back to center as well, clearing you from your head, bringing you within. That I find helps a lot as well. Any other types of meditations, things like that. Another area when you go to check in, you may find is that it might be an energy that you're feeling inside of you somewhere, a certain type of feeling. So let's say it's something in your stomach. you're feeling a bit of a knot, you're feeling a bit of nervousness, or, someone punched you in the stomach, something like that, and you don't even know what it is. A technique I love to use is taking deep breaths, imagining white light coming into that area and breathing it out, whatever it may be. You don't have to analyze it. If the answers come to you as to what it is, allow them to. Just stay away from analyzing and figuring out why. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter. If you're going to release it, you're going to release it regardless. And then you'll get away from what's really going on by thinking of the whys and what is that and blah, 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 blah.
You start spinning the whole story again.
You do. You get into the stories, the meanings, and then you think they're real, and that's a whole other ballgame.
And all the what ifs.
Yes. The can of worms starts to open.
Yep.
And so you breathe in there and let it out. And what you may find, this happens to me, is as I'm doing that, it starts to lift. So it may start in my stomach, and then it comes out to my heart, and then up to my chest, and then up to my neck, and then it eventually releases. And different people experience different forms of release. You may also burp. You may also yawn. That's a form of release as well. So that's when things are moving. Sometimes your stomach will growl. I know with me, when I'm doing any type of energy work, my stomach starts to growl. That's when I know the energy is moving in there. And it gets released. So that's another piece if you feel something inside. Another thing is, you may just need something. You may need, let's say, a little bit of attention from your partner. And just like a child, they're going to get attention one way or another. We're actually not that much different than children, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're just, bigger children.
Yeah.
And what we want to avoid is causing any sort of drama in order to get that attention. Just like a little kid, if it's going to be negative attention, as long as it's some sort of attention, they're going to ask for it. So you want to make sure you don't put what's going on with you onto your partner. So you may find, I'm just feeling the need for some extra love. I'm feeling the need for some extra attention. Recognize that. Honor that. Don't create something to get your partner's love. Openly communicate with them. Talk to them. Ask them. So you know what? This is kind of going on with me right now. If you know why, explain why. If you don't know why, it doesn't matter why. I'm just needing some extra love and attention. Their response to you when you come from the heart and authentically would be completely different than if you caused a dramatic situation, right, or any of that, right?
Or a fight because of it. I mean, how many of us assume, I know when I was growing up, I just, I grew up with the notion that men should just know what I wanted them to do, you know what I mean? Or what I needed. And half the time I don't even know what I need. So for someone else to know it is ridiculous. But what would happen to me is I would assume that person knew, and then I wasn't getting it, and I would get angry, and I'd be like, you never give me attention. It's like, you never asked.
Yes. We all fall into that trap, especially as women, because we're the ones that need the majority of the attention. And there is always some point in our lives where it's like, oh, wait a second. I actually need to ask. They can't read my mind.
Yeah, and for some reason we think it's less romantic or anything, and it really isn't. It takes courage to ask for what you need, and that courage is going to create trust. And when you are able to communicate clearly instead of in that passive aggressive way, it really builds a relationship rather than, I think about it, and if you came to me and were like, hey, I really need some attention, I don't know why, but I'm really just feeling like I need to be loved or snuggled or whatever, is a lot better than, why don't you ever do this? You know what I mean? So it's the space that you're coming from, I think is really important.
Yes, and it also helps with men to be direct. They need actual direction. So even if you have a problem and you don't necessarily need it fixed, just even saying, you know what, this is, can you just listen to me? I don't need anything fixed, but if you could please listen to me.
Yeah.
Or, sometimes we're hashing out or trying to figure out a situation in our heads. A guy is not someone you want to go to with that. Go to your girlfriends. The point where you want to go to your partner, especially if it's a male, is once you actually figure it out. and have a clear direction, because they need more direction, simplicity. If you're going on and on and on for a half an hour, their head is just trying to figure out what's going on, how they're going to fix it, how they're going to solve it. So then it just, kind of, and then meanwhile, you're like, well, I don't know about this. And then they get frustrated because you're not listening, and, they're trying, but they don't know what to do. And it just all over the place.
Yeah.
So yeah, getting a clear is great, and communicating and being clear about that.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes us actually to my next point is, let's say you're feeling something off, with your partner. You checked in, everything's fine with you, you're balanced, everything's great, but you're feeling something's off with your partner. Something's different. You can feel them. Many times we don't even realize it, but we can actually feel our partner's energy.
Oh,
we
yeah,
can feel, when something's different. And that's when, again, our minds can start racing. Well, what's going on? Why is he being like this?
Week. My husband's a little stressed because he's got stuff going on at work. And of course, I want to make it all about me. Like, what did I do? What can I do? I want to make it better. And I went into the fix it mode, right? And I had to be careful because I realized I was stepping into that space where I wanted to fix it for him, because he's usually a happy, jolly guy. And to see him like stressed makes me want to go, no, you can't be stressed. Let me fix it for you.
Yes, because you need to be my happy guy for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yep. But I had to let him, and then I had to bring myself back to the truth, which is, right, there's nothing going on with me.
Mm-hmm.
It's his, and, there's nothing I can do about it. He's got to figure out how to manage his stress, and I can love him. I mean, that's all I can do, but yeah, I can't fix it.
No, you can't fix it, but what you can do is create that open space for him.
Yeah.
So, for example, when your partner seems off, the first thing you want to do is, one, center yourself, so you are not coming from the place of what did I do?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on? What is it about me? Because that's the ego. It's just natural. It's going to happen. Right. We just don't want to give it power.
Yeah, and it's going to tell us stories. If we've been abandoned, we're going to start getting scared that, oh my God, he's going to leave me. Or,
yes.
If we've been violated in some way, oh no, this is scary. I mean, these are all just stories. My husband's not like any of that. I mean, luckily my husband's in the Mankind Project, so he's very emotionally mature, and he does listen to me, and he does know how to clear space. And I can easily tell him, I don't want you to fix this. I just need to talk about this. And it's like a release for him, because then he's like, oh, okay, I don't have to do anything. I just need
off the hook. That's great. Exactly. It's creating that space. He creates that space for you, and you create that space for your spouse, where it's all about the listening, not bringing anything into the conversation, not bringing your past into the conversation, your own worries and your own concerns and your own insecurities. It's creating that blank space, like a blank slate.
Yeah.
And letting...
We ask if we can ask questions, like, did you want feedback? Do you want questions before we just dive in? Because sometimes we know, like, we both know that whatever's happening for us is happening for us. Like, it's not the outside world. It's something that we need to process through ourselves. And so that is really nice. Like, if you've never been able to talk to somebody without people butting in or giving you their stories or, whatever, I suggest you go find a woman's circle or a man's circle or a co-ed circle somewhere where you can go and just be heard and not fixed and not advised.
Yes. A lot of times people just want to be listened to. They want to be understood.
Heard.
Right. And it's trying to get into their world. So listening from a place of blankness, a blank slate, and allow their words to draw the picture for you. Mm-hmm. So that way you can really understand, there's no, and accepting them, there's no right or wrong. It just is, and accepting their world, their reality, and understanding their world and their reality.
Right.
And so this leads to one thing I want to do is an exercise.
Cool.
To opening your heart to your partner. So first I want you to think of a number from 1 to 10. How much love would you be able to give your partner at this moment? And this is great to practice, while, things are a little crazy or kind of something, something's going on as well. And you could also practice this technique and anything we talk about today, pretty much, even in other relationships in life. Right now, we're kind of gearing towards, the romantic partnership, but really it could be worked with any partnership,
Sure.
any type of friendship and relationship. So what I want to do is, what I want you to do is close your eyes.
Okay.
And breathe deeply. Come into the moment. Allow your day to be released. And say, right now is all about me. And if any thoughts come in, just let them know you'll be back later. And I want you to cross your hands over your heart and begin tapping. Continue breathing deeply. Now I want you to start humming a song of love to your partner. I like to use You Are My Sunshine. And smile at the same time. Oh, great, you got to smile. Perfect.
Hope you don't mind my humming.
Yeah, go for it. Love it.
You're just trying to make the host look goofy, right?
That was my plan. Oops, you got on.
That's it. We're done.
Then you want to think of your partner's name. And think of what God, the universe, made you for. And the next thing I want you to do is called filling the cup. So with your hands, stroke downwards, filling up your heart with love, filling up the cup with love. And imagine your partner playing, splashing in the water as a child. Playing, having fun. Knowing your partner actually hasn't changed. You're still the same soul, wanting love, feeling love, craving the love. And feel how much love you can really give. Now I want you to put your hands on your heart and breathe deeply, releasing any thoughts. Feel the power in your heart. Feel and know how strong your heart is and how it can make what seems impossible possible, that anything can be made possible with the power and strength of your heart. And you have it within you. Imagine a grateful moment in your life. It could be at any time, the past or the present. Now imagine another grateful moment that made you smile. It could be from any time in your past. Now put one hand on your forehead, bringing love to your thoughts. Think of another grateful moment and bring that gratefulness into both your hands. Now take the hand from your heart and put it on the back of your head. filling both hands and the back and the front of your head with love. Now the hand that's on your forehead, bring it to your heart. Now put both hands on your heart, thinking of your partner's name. Now back to tapping, thinking of your partner's name, crossing your hands and tapping again. Now put your hands on your heart and feel the love. And now from a number of 1 to 10, how much love do you have to give to your partner? And then you can come back when you're ready.
That was nice.
It's peaceful. I went a little quicker than one normally would.
Sure.
Doing it on their own. And this is a great exercise to practice regularly, and also to help you during those arguments when you're kind of riled up. So if you practice this regularly, then when you have one of those moments, it's quicker to get, into the heart center when you are having an argument. And so when you do have an argument, you want to be as present as possible and in your heart. You want to bring yourself to your heart center, again, to really listen to your partner from a place of nothing. And according to human needs psychology, we actually have 6 human needs. One is certainty to not feel pain, certainty to have a roof over our heads, that we will be fed. And with each need, we either fulfill them in attainable ways or sustainable ways. And a lot of times when we're having an argument, we're trying to fulfill a need in an attainable way rather than a sustainable way. So certainty is one of them. Another one is uncertainty, variety. A little variety in life, a little change. The attainable way sometimes, though, is you're having a blissful, happy, loving day, but you're kind of a little tired of that, so you want a little drama, right? So you create a little variety in the drama sense. That's attainable. You want something a little more sustainable. Go for a bike ride or something. The next is significance. We all want to feel important. We all want to feel like we matter, have attention, like we have meaning of some sort. The next one is love and connection, which pretty much says it all. Love and connection with other human beings. Those are the 4 human needs. And then the 2 more spiritual needs are growth, so personal growth, and contribution outside of ourselves. So when we're reaching or trying to fulfill one of our needs from an attainable way, it's usually not a favorable way, but when we're trying to do it from a sustainable way, it usually brings more love, happiness, fulfillment, and joy, especially if we're trying to sustain it using growth and contribution. And another thing that we get into is every action we take, every argument we get into, all has positive intent. And the 3 intentions are protect, provide, and prevent. So when you're speaking with your partner and he or she is sharing kind of what's going on, you also want to look kind of beyond the words when you're being present and ask yourself, what is it that my partner really wants? What is it that my partner's really, what's the true intention? What need are they trying to meet through this situation that's going on? And by looking beyond the words and seeing that, you can then have a conversation from there, because then you could also help then your partner fulfill that need from a sustainable way. And even looking at yourself at the same time, I'm upset. I'm not happy. Okay, what need am I trying to meet? What is my intention? And by getting it, you can actually think to yourself, okay, well, what's the sustainable way I can fulfill this for myself? Right? And a lot of it's just staying in the heart in order to then see all of this stuff, to experience all this stuff, to be aware of this stuff, instead of having our own egos and our own insecurities and all that kind of stuff coming into the conversation. Yeah. And at the same time, always being present with our partner, listening to them from that blank slate, having our heart open during that time, and really getting that both of you just want to be loved, accepted, understood, no matter what the story is, or no matter what the action is, or anything kind of going on in the surface. That at the core, that's where everyone is coming from.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can tell you, my first marriage, we married way too young, and I didn't always believe he had the best intentions. That's not to say that he didn't. I'm just saying that my judgment was, somewhere along the line, I got to the point where I was suspicious of his intentions when we got into arguments and stuff. And in my second marriage now, and we have a great marriage, thankfully, but I always know that his intention is to love me. And then if I can remember that in the moment, I realize, right, this is just one of those, excuse my language, asshole things that he does. You know what I mean? And he's not doing it to piss me off. He's doing it because he does this in his life. That's how he does it. And, and he underneath wants to love me. And if I can be clear and say, this thing really pisses me off and I'd really like you to do this, he can say, well, I'll keep that in mind in the future. It doesn't mean it's going to change his behavior at all. And I still have to know that's still not about me, but I'm not perfect either. I'm kind of messy. I'm clean, but I have a disarray of things often around me. And my husband's the opposite. So for him, he could be thinking, oh, she must hate me, and that's why she leaves her clothes on the floor or whatever. You know what I mean? And that he knows better. No, that's just who she is. She doesn't not pick that up because it bothers me. She does it because that's who she is. And so there's things that we both have to kind of get around and know that it's not about the other person. And that's where it comes down to, I think.
Yes, it's giving the other person's actions meaning. And the meaning we usually give it has something to do with ourselves.
Of course.
And even with your previous partner, he did have some sort of positive intent.
Absolutely.
With some, they'll use manipulation and they won't seem to have your best interests at heart. And usually they don't have your best interests. They do have their own because they're either scared or, they're feeling the need for significance or certainty, or something's going on with them. And unfortunately, they take unfavorable actions that are hurtful towards others.
Sure.
But at the end, their intention is a positive. It may be their own survival, their own emotional survival. It could be anything. Mm-hmm. And that's where, as humans, we then get to choose. I get your positive intention. I love you. I get it. But this is not for me.
Right.
The way you're,
mm-hmm.
It's the boundaries. If you want to talk, really get to the core, I'm all up for it. Mm-hmm. But, where you're going with this right now is just not going to work.
Yeah.
And that's where we kind of, awareness is a big piece. I didn't understand the whole concept of manipulation until I read the book actually In Sheep's Clothing. Mm. And that brought a lot of awareness to me. It's okay, I see. And sometimes we fall into these things, into these traps until we have a different perspective. So someone that would, once upon a time tried manipulating me, I would fall into it because to me, manipulation, I couldn't even grasp the concept. I couldn't even do it if I tried, right? I wouldn't pre-think. When I was younger, it just wasn't one of those things. Everything just comes out, my mouth, in my head, my mouth. And that was it. So I couldn't even conceive the idea of being manipulated. And so I got that, that brought more awareness. So once you're more aware, it's like, okay, I see what this person's doing. It's just one of their mechanisms to either protect themselves, create certainty, whatever it may be. That's just their mechanism.
Yeah, it's
so
not
when
even
you
about you. It's about them trying to do whatever they need for their needs.
Exactly. So, once you actually grasp that and see that perspective, because what we don't know, we don't know. So until we can learn different, techniques and different tools and different things, there's a lot of things we don't see. So once we see something, it makes it so much easier to work with afterwards, because you get where that person's going and you can navigate it so much easier. Instead of it triggering you to become and do and act the way they're trying to manipulate you to, you actually stop and you completely navigate the conversation totally differently. And that's what I find ends up happening. They say knowledge is power, but it's actually knowledge plus action actually equals power. So it's also then taking that knowledge and putting it into action within your conversations. So yeah. Any other questions? I'm open to questions. Yeah, I know everyone can actually ask questions as well on the page if they have any personal questions for me to answer.
That's right. Yes.
Perfect.
You can add it right into the comment box at the bottom. Diane will have this page, so she'll be checking back to make sure that she's connecting with you all and answering all your questions. If you just, love your partner and you want to tell us that too, we're willing to hear that too. We'll hear any of your comments at all. But if you do have any questions about relationships and how you can really communicate better with your partner, if you're struggling with that piece, or how to ask for your needs, I know that that's a big one for a lot of people. They're afraid to ask for what they need. I'm sure that Diane can help you. So feel free to put all of your comments and questions in the bottom. I thank you so much for coming today. I mean, this has been really fantastic. I love the exercise. And I love that you say that we can apply that to anything. So, I mean, if you have mom problems, dad problems, sibling problems, second cousin problems, best friend problems, it all comes down to the same thing, is whether or not, well, for me, it was trusting the intention of the other person. And I just want to mention one more thing. A tool that we use in Women Within and the Mankind Project is something called a clearing. And in that, we get to bring our processed issue. For women, we already process our work before we bring it to somebody else. Not to blame them or not to put anything on them, but to say, here's the data. I was feeling sad because of this data. Let's say the data was you walked in and you didn't say hi. You didn't say anything. And I was feeling sad. And the story, then we go into the story that we tell ourselves, right? Because those things that we think, that's all baloney. We don't know until we actually ask the other person. So the story I told myself is that you don't care about me, or, you're mad at me for some reason, and I've done something wrong, or I'm disconnecting from you, whatever your story is. And then what do I want? What I want is underneath it all, yes, I could easily say, I want you to say hi to me when you walk into a room, but you can't make the other person do anything. So really what I want is I want to stop telling myself stories about how other people saying hi to me or not doesn't really make a difference, that it doesn't impact me. What I want is to feel secure. I want to feel loved and connected, really. I mean, that's what it comes down to. So that's a way that we can do a clearing where we're not blaming anything on the other person. We're just bringing up information. You may not have to do that with another person once you figure it out. It may just be all you, and you don't even need to mention it. But for my husband and I, because we are in such close relationship, when we have something that comes up for us, we are able to use this model. And the reason I bring it up is because it all starts with, you can always ask, what is your intention with this clearing? Because some people do use a clearing to basically judgment dump, like, when you did this, you're a jerk and blah. And that's not a good intention.
No, not at all. It's not going to go well.
That is not going to get you what you want, I promise you. But my intention is to stay in connection, be really clear in our relationship, because I don't want anything here. And, you know, you may have been feeling something here that I was holding. So I want to.
Yeah. And something like even, you know, that high, I mean, it's always great to get a high in the morning and all that kind of thing, but it's the meaning we give it. So the high in the morning can mean that, oh, well, I'm significant, I'm important, right? So it's that need for the significance and the importance.
Yeah.
When really all you want is love and connection. Mm-hmm. And by letting go of that meaning, you can just have your love and connection, because a high in the morning doesn't mean whether or not your partner loves and is connected to you. Yeah. Kind of thing. So it ties in also, you know, with the needs and everything. Yeah, that's a great story. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. So just some tools for your toolbox with relationships. We all know that they're not always easy. And, you know, I think that, like you said, one of our basic needs is that need for connection.
Yes.
Every human being has that, even introverts like me. Mm-hmm. Like, we all need to have that connection. So thank you so much for bringing us the tools, some new techniques to use to really get connected with our partner. And what I love about that is these don't require you to incorporate your partner. Like, you don't have to make your partner do anything in order for you to make transformation in your relationship, or whatever relationship. Doesn't have to be your partner, but you don't have to force them to do something that they don't want to do. You just do it. And then that transforms the relationships. And I got to tell you, I've really transformed the way that I react to people and the way that I communicate with people that I used to struggle with. And it's really made life a lot easier, because when I come direct, everything is so much clearer, you know. And that's, like I said, that's your mom, that's your best friend, whatever. When you can say, hey, this is my clear intention, this is exactly what I want, it's so much easier for other people to provide. And I think so often we forget that other people want to provide it, you know, that other people do want to fix it if they can, you know. So if there's something that they can do, they're waiting to, you know what I mean? And not asking them is almost stealing a chance for them to serve you.
Yes.
Which is a gift for them, you know, to be able to think how good we feel when we get to serve other people. And then if we get to give that gift to someone else, that's really special.
Yeah, it's allowing them to contribute to you, which is one of their needs, is contribution.
Right.
And so many of us have a hard time receiving, but by not receiving, we're actually taking away from someone else feeling good.
Yeah.
You know, so it's an interesting little cycle.
Yeah. So, and that's something that I'm actually just discovering now in life. Like, I get it in relationships, but I realize that even in life, you know, when I start telling the universe I'm not open to receiving, then the universe is like, fine, I'm not giving you anything.
Yes. And then you sit there and wonder, like, what's going on?
Yeah, why am I not abundant?
And nothing's coming in, or it's like I'm kind of stuck, and it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
Like,
and yeah,
no.
And going back to that creation about not needing your partner to create, you know, it took me a long time to really grasp. I was always told you can create, you don't need the other person in order to create that great relationship. And I'd be like, I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. How could you, you know, this and that and blah, blah, blah. And it took me a while, but I finally got it. Yeah. And I've put it to practice in my life as well. And I just saw it. I'm like, whoa. And it pretty much ends up being what type of space you create for that person and the way you show up. Because the way you show up will depend on how they show up. Mm-hmm. And also the way you look at them. What parts of them do you focus on? Focus is huge. Yeah. You know, what do we focus on with our partner? Depends on how they show up for us. Mm-hmm. So it's incredible how we can actually do a lot just on our own.
Oh, absolutely. We have women who come to the women's weekends and they're like, well, really what my problem is my husband and he's not here. So, you know, I can't do any work. And it's like, oh, honey, that's what you think.
Yeah. Doesn't work that way.
Your problem is not your husband. I promise you.
Yeah. And even with relationship coaching, I mean, it's great to have both people because you can, you know, you can probably work at things a little faster, but either either way, you still need time one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you still need time one-on-one because each person has kind of like their own thing as well. It's not just about what's going on, because it's what are both people bringing into it. Absolutely. And what both people are bringing into it has to do with ourselves.
Oh yeah, we did couples coaching, and I got to tell you, we did our work was separate because it had nothing to do with anything that was between us. It was all that baggage that we were bringing into the relationship that might have been causing problems or could have caused problems. We actually went to a couples weekend before we had problems. So we had to do our own work, and that's really what it came down to. And the only reason that our relationship works is because he continues to do his work and I continue to do my work. I mean, it wouldn't work if I had a husband who went to work, came home, watched TV for the rest of the night and disconnected, like that just wouldn't be for me. And that I swear that's why it works so well, because when I work out all of my garbage and he works out all of his garbage, we're not bringing that garbage to our relationship. We're not looking to stir that drama in our relationship. We're just grateful that it's like solid in there, rather than like, oh, how can I get attention? It's been so much easier since I can ask for what I need. And sometimes like what he needs is, I think it's ridiculous. He's a words of affirmation guy, with the 5 love languages. He's a words of affirmation guy. And like, that is not me. And so like, I have to tell him all the time how wonderful he is. And he really is. He's like, awesome.
Yeah.
But me having to say it is just like, where I'm more of an acts of service or a touch kind of girl, where acts of service mean a heck of a lot. Like, you could tell me I'm wonderful all day long. I don't care. But you bringing me tea every morning, that to me tells me that I'm wonderful and you love me,
Yeah, that's my number one too.
Yeah.
Acts of service and quality time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Those are my 2 highest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and if you haven't heard the book, The 5 Love Languages, I really suggest, I can't think of the guy's name right off the top of my head. But I promise you'll find it, 5 Love Languages. It is phenomenal. You can find out what love language you are, what love language your partner is, and then you can see how you can really fill each other's cup, because everybody has different ways of getting their cup full. And they talk about 5 ways there, but not to belinger that, but it is a fabulous relationship book.
And you actually could do it for your children as well. They have the test online. So I had my daughter do it.
Oh, yeah.
And that was great too. Because hers is quality time, which explains why she likes attention.
Oh, yeah. And my son's is gifts. So he loves gifts. He doesn't get a whole lot, but I guess that's probably why it's meaningful to him. Yeah. And I guess we'll find a lot of kids, gifts are a big thing. So.
Yeah. It's a great website. And if you Google it, it comes up, I think, in the first top 3, if not number 1. Yeah. Very easy to find.
Yeah. Perfect book. Well, all right. Thank you so much again for being on our summit. Again, if any of you have questions, please feel free to put them below, and we'll make sure that Diane gets to them. And that's all for this session. So thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you, Christina.
You're welcome.